Okay, I'm going to stick with the 7.1 material again. I've kind of been jumping around a bit, but I think, you know, if you're going to square root and cube root things, you may as well just lump them all in together and do the easy ones as well as the hard ones. I've got a cat next to me, by the way, if he appears in screen. So let's have a look at this. We're going to do some graphing. From 7.1, we've actually got some graphing to do, and also identify the domain, okay? Which I'll show you about that. Now, this one says identify the domain and then graph, but what we really want you to do, okay, really is graph the function and then look at the graph itself to find the domain, okay? And I'll explain that as we go along. So, root x minus 4. I'm going to have to go to another page for this. Right, here we go. Okay, so we can see that. There we go. So the root x minus 4. The minus 4 is not part of the square root, okay? Now, think about this, guys. You've got to logically pick numbers that will make sense for you to be able to square root. Okay? You can't square root 6 or negative 3, so don't pick them. Look at the table. For this one, I've got things I can square root. Right, so if I put a 1 here, okay, what's the square root of 1? It's 1, take away 4, that will give me negative 3. So when x is 1, now notice a scale on here, I've had to kind of make it up myself, so when x is 1, right, y is negative 3, so about there. Okay? Cat, you can't see him, sorry cat. Right, when x is 4, because I can square root 4, what's the square root of 4? It's 2. Okay, so this time when if x is 4, okay, when I square it I get 2. 2 take away 4 is negative 2. Okay, so when x is 4, so I don't know, out there, okay, y is negative 2. Okay? When x is 9, because I can square root 9, so when x is 9, square root of 9 is 3, take away 4, I'll get negative 1. I'm plotting all these points. So when x is 9, so closer to the 10 now, y is negative 1. Alright? Thomas. Sorry, look. Okay, how about when x is, let's erase some of this, alright, so that's huge, sorry, let me see, when x is 16, so when x is 16, I can square root 16, it's 4, 4 take away 4 is 0, so when x is 16, which is somewhere over here, okay, y is 0. And finally, when x is 25, what's the square root of 25? That's 5. Take away 4, that's 1. So when x is 25, which is somewhere over here somewhere, of course, 25. Okay, there we go. Right. So, actually, maybe what I should have done is, should I have done, no, that's pretty much it. Oh, I should have done, I always forget it, you can square it to 0. Okay, don't forget the 0. Okay, don't forget the 0. What's the square root of 0? It's 0. Take away 4, it's negative 4. Alright, I forgot about that one. Okay, down here. Because I know where I'm starting. That's the y-intercept. Okay? Remember your graphing, y-intercepts? Right, if I can do this, now this is not a straight line, it's not y equals mx plus b. Okay, it's a square root. Right, so, it's a curve, it's a nice smooth curve, hopefully it'll go on forever, alright? Okay, there we go. That's the graph, not bad. Pretty much all square root graphs kind of look like that. Okay? Kind of look like that kind of shape. Right? Now then, the domain. Remember this? The question also says identify the domain. Now, the domain of any graph is the x values that pretty much you can see being used. Okay? So, domain is, can you read from left to right? Where does the graph start? Where does the graph end? And normally, if you're going that way, remember, things will end at infinity. If it keeps on going, that's infinity. Remember, that's negative infinity. So remember your infinities. So what's the domain of this graph? Right, it looks like it starts at 0. Okay, remember, x values. This is x equals 0. Nothing to do with y's. All right, where does it go from here to here? Along that number line. Okay, it starts at 0, and it looks like it's going on to infinity. Okay, so the domain of this, it does include 0. Domain of this is 0 to infinity. Alright, that's it. That's the domain of this graph because I can see it. It starts at 0, it definitely includes a 0, okay, and it goes on to infinity. That's why I've got the bracket at the 0. If If it didn't include it, I'd have a parenthesis, because that is the domain of this particular graph. Okay, and we'll go through more of those, okay, graphing and domains, as I go through. Okay.